there. Here I am, listening to my Korean and sweeping because I happen to be listening to Assimil for reasons that I will explain. And if I'm going to listen, I have to do something. And I found that when I listen to music, when I listen to my language, what happens is I'm more useful around the house. Earlier I was cleaning the stove, now I'm sweeping in the kitchen, because I want to be doing something while I'm listening. I don't just want to sit there and listen. So, it makes me exercise more, do more things so that I can actually be occupied while I'm listening. Because if I have dedicated time, I want to sit there and read or review words. But when I'm listening, I want to do something else. And so, I'm more helpful around the house. So, generally speaking, language learning makes you a better husband, maybe. Anyway, see you later. Hi there. So, day 26. A different day. I spent a good hour creating links on some of the new lessons that I found in the Korean library, preparing myself for reading them on my iPad. And then, I was following, one of the things about studying on a computer is that it's easy to get distracted. So every so often when I'm studying on the computer, I'll go over to our forum at Link, for example, to see what's going on and maybe chime in on one of the threads there. And someone made reference to Luca Lampariello, who is, I think, perhaps the best of the internet polyglots. And he apparently spoke of an epiphany moment, and there was some discussion as to whether this happens when you're sort of at an intermediate level or an advanced level. And I mean, I made the point that very few learners reach what according to the European framework is C1 or C2, in other words, an advanced level. I think most people are very happy to achieve a high intermediate level in a language. I think in all the languages that I speak, only in French do I really consider myself to be advanced. Even in Japanese or Chinese or Spanish, I'm a good intermediate. That's kind of where I am, and I'm happy with that. That serves all of my purposes. I can read, I can understand, I can enjoy myself, and I can even do business. In fact, I did business in Japanese for many, many years, and yet I know very well that there are many gaps in my Japanese. So I'm just a high intermediate. So that's fine. So very few people reach that, advanced level. So certainly to me, the epiphany moment where you feel comfortable and happy and satisfied and you can do what you want, it comes at the intermediate level, not at the advanced level. However, then there was something about Luca and how he learned Polish, and so I Googled Luca learn Polish, or something like that, and up came this article where he talks about how he learned Polish. And there he said that he used Assimil, which is his favorite sort of starter series for any language. So that reminded me that I have Assimil for Korean. I have Assimil for Korean. So I thought I'd go and spend some time with it. And which I did maybe a couple of weeks ago. I did the first half of the book, most of, which I know in a way. And so I said, I'll go and do the other half of the book, and I'll listen and I'll read and so forth. So it was kind of interesting because Luca likes Assimil, and he gave the following reasons. He says it has a funny and entertaining dialogues, bilingual text, phonetic explanation, progressive and easy to understand grammar notes, progressive and effective exercises, pleasant graphics, and audio in the target language only. So today what I did was I decided I would listen to this Assimil consists of 4 CDs, each 30 minutes long. So that's 2 hours of audio, all in the target language. That's good. So the first 2 CDs are too easy. So I took the second 2 CDs, and then I started listening. And as you saw in the earlier video, if I'm going to listen, I got to do something. So I started cleaning up the kitchen, and then that didn't get me very far. So my wife's been after me to move some furniture and move beds and stuff like that. So pretty soon I got roped into doing all of that. So I spent about 3 hours moving stuff, listening while doing it. Except when I was moving with my wife, I can't listen while I'm working with her because she doesn't like it. So we did all of that. Then I had a little bit of a workout, had my bath. Then we had a nice dinner. We had some nice chicken liver as an hors d'oeuvre. And then we had a little soup with cabbage in it. And then my wife is very good at buying sort of fish ends, bits of the neck, the stomach, and all the sort of ugly leftovers when they prepare fish for other people. And these are A, less expensive, and B, delicious. So we had that. And Carmen had made a pilaf with brown rice, which had mushrooms and vegetables in it. It was phenomenal. And then we finished it off with a little gorgonzola, and all the while we drank a little bit of Canadian red wine. By the way, the wine from the Okanagan is very, very good. Like a Cabernet from the Okanagan was delicious. So after that, all of a sudden it was time for the only television program other than hockey that I watch, which is Downton Abbey. So then we sat down and watched Downton Abbey, which we really enjoy. I mean, it's really, I don't know why, but I love it. It's the only thing I watch. So basically, that's all I did. I did manage to sneak in about 20 pages of reading Assimil. But eventually, what I'm going to do with this, so then let's get back to Luca. You know, most of what he says about Assimil is irrelevant to me. What my take on Assimil is that, first of all, the quality of the book, the actual book binding, whoops, I always get in the wrong direction. You got a little string here to mark your place. It's very good quality. You can bend it in any which way, and it's a very good quality book. But funny and entertaining dialogues. I had Assimil for Russian. It was quite entertaining, better than the average book. The Korean is quite boring, but not as bad as the other Korean books I had, where they're forever talking about a Korean American going to Korea to learn Korean and stuff, which is like absolutely terribly boring. This is better. The audio quality is excellent. Phonetic explanations I have no use for because I just listen. The grammar notes I don't read because I think a lot of the other material that I have with lots and lots of examples is much better. Plus they have this phonetic script. The Korean phonetic script, the official Korean phonetic script, is useless. I can't understand it. It's got E-O for O. I can't use it. I mean, Hangul is phonetic. Once you get the hang of how Hangul works, I don't know why you would need it. On top of which, here in the Assimil version, they have their own funny, because the official Korean phonetic script is so hopeless, they've come up with another one for French people, which is even more hopeless. So I ignore all of that. I ignore the grammar notes, as I said, because I have other sources with more examples, less explanation, more examples. Pleasant graphics are irrelevant to me. Exercises I don't do. So really it amounts to audio and text. And the inconvenience of Assimil is that it doesn't give you the individual translation of the words. So the ideal scenario for me would be to take Assimil and import it into Link, look up each word, find the Hanja or the Chinese character where applicable, have them as lists of words, then I can see the relationship between these different words, because to me, language learning is about words and how words are related to each other and so forth. I'm not at all interested in the bilingual text. I find it very distracting to be reading here and then reading there. I just want to see the words and work out the meaning in the actual text. So what I get out of this is audio and text. There's 2 hours worth, the first half of which now is not interesting enough or challenging enough for me. But the big thing too was that 6 or 7 years ago when I studied Korean, and I had bought this book at that time, and I had my other sources which I preferred to use, but then I'd go here and listen, and I couldn't understand it. And now I understand it, although I'm missing a few words. It's clear to me. Is that an epiphany moment? I don't know. But it's content. 2 hours, all right? When I get going, like with Russian, I would be downloading more than 2 hours a day. I didn't listen to it all, of interviews from Echo Must Be. Each interview is 30 or 40 minutes long. I would easily take down 2 or 3 interviews, and during my driving, I'd be listening to them. But that's when I'm at a stage where I don't have to read everything that I listen to. So, you need exposure. Here, there's 2 hours of exposure. 2 hours of exposure is not very much. You need tens of hours, hundreds of hours, many hundreds of hours of exposure before you get anywhere. So, Assimil is nice, but it's just one source of content to me. That's all it is. It's a source of content. It's okay. Lots of disjointed phrases. It's not terribly interesting. Sound quality is good. So I'm going to do that for the next day or two. The other advantage of Assimil for me at this stage is that some of the stuff I'm doing, Voice of Russia and so forth, is difficult. So I plow my way through it. I'm getting better. It's nice to go back and do easy stuff. So Assimil fits the bill. And there you have it. And now it's, hopefully I'm going to do a bit of reading before I go to bed. Bye for now. Just a final note. When I said phonetic script, I was referring to a romanization of Korean. Obviously, Hangul is phonetic, but there is an official sort of romanization of Korean, which is unintelligible at first glance for anyone who hasn't, studied that system. So my beef with Assimil is that they continue to present you with that romanization, plus their own special romanization for French people all the way through the book, which just clutters it up. They would be better off to have larger script for the Hangul and then rely on Hangul. So I just wanted to finish with that. Otherwise, I think I may have left the impression that I thought Hangul was hopeless. Hangul is not hopeless. Hangul is what you got to go with. It was the romanization that was hopeless.